guys, it's Emily, and today I'm here to bring you a quick wrap-up of two books that I recently read. The first book is Us by David Nicholls. David Nicholls is a writer that I really enjoy. His book Starter for 10 is one of my all-time favorite books, and then he also wrote One Day, which is a really great book, and the movies for both of those books are really great too, and he wrote the screenplay for both of them. So he's a writer that I really enjoyed. But the last book of his I read was called The Understudy, and I actually ended up DNFing that book due to some adultery plot lines that made me uncomfortable. I really do not care for adultery. And because I had such a bad experience with that book, I put off reading this book, which is Us. And this book was published in 2014, and I actually put this on my Goodreads TBR, like right after it came out in 2014. So it's been on there a while. But I finally picked it up, and this book, while better than The Understudy, is not nearly as good as Starter for 10 or One Day. This book is the tale of Douglas. He's a middle-aged man, and his wife, he and his wife have been married for almost 25 years, and one night she wakes him up and she says that she wants a divorce, and she doesn't really have a reason for the divorce. She just says she's unhappy and she wants to move on and do something else with her life. But so after she says this, it's revealed that the family had been planning to go on a big European tour. Douglas and his wife Connie have a teenage son named Albie, and he's about to go off to college in the fall, and so they wanted to have like one last hurrah, sort of like a big family trip. So they go on this trip, and through the course of the book, they travel around Europe. They go to Spain and Venice and Amsterdam, and they, have family drama and things happen. And then Albie runs away. He and Douglas have a fight, and he runs away, and so things happen. And I found the plot line of this to be rather unrealistic. I didn't really get why you would tell your husband you want a divorce right when you're planning to go on a big trip, or alternatively, why wouldn't you cancel the trip? And then, okay, Connie just says she's unhappy, but then throughout the rest of the book, even though we know she wants to get a divorce, she never, they just seem like a regular married couple. Like, they have sex, and they kiss, and they go out to dinner by themselves without Albie, and I don't know, it's just like, and even at the very end of the book, they're still, pretty happy, and you're like, why are you getting divorced, It's like, I guess they never justified the divorce to me. David Nicholls never justified the divorce for me in a way that made sense. And then, like I said, I found the plot to be pretty unrealistic, and I don't know, I actually really found Douglas to be relatable in this book, and of course the book's from his perspective, and so, maybe if it was from Connie's perspective, I would understand Connie's point of view a lot better. But I just felt like Connie didn't seem to, give the reader a very good reason, and then Douglas, he talked about all these bad things he did as a father, and yeah, he wasn't the greatest father in the world, but a lot of his justifications for things he did made sense to me. Like, for example, Albie is planning to be a photographer. That's his, dream in life. And his mom, Connie, is an artist as well, and so she's really in favor of it. But Douglas is a scientist, and so he wants Albie to do something a little more practical in his life. And Albie and Connie both think this is, terrible, that he doesn't want Albie to pursue his dreams. And he's like, but it doesn't make sense, because if everybody, did what they wanted to do when they were a kid, there'd be, a billion ballerinas, and there wouldn't be, any mechanics or whatever, It's like, and I agree with that. I don't think it's realistic for everybody in the world to achieve their dreams, even me, I'm studying to be a librarian, and I have a dream of working at a presidential library, but I also recognize that it's very hard to get a job at a presidential library, and I'm probably not going to get one, right out of school, or even ever, you know. It's just like, that's just my dream. And I like telling people that, and it's nice to have something to say when people ask you what you want to do with your life. But I don't expect, you know, it's like, so anyway, I felt like Douglas was a lot more sympathetic than he was meant to be to me. I don't know if that was intentional, but anyway, I like this book, but I just feel like it was a disappointment when you consider that David Nicholls wrote Starter for 10 and One Day. So yeah, kind of, it was despair. It was average, I would say. It wasn't spectacular like Starter for 10 or One Day were. So it's sad to say. Then very briefly, I finished my textbook for the semester, Understanding Archives and Manuscripts by James M. O'Toole and Richard J. Cox. I read this for my Archives and Manuscripts class. I just mentioned I'm getting my library science degree, my master's, so this is what we had to read. This was fine for a textbook. I don't really have that much to say about it. I did actually really enjoy the biography. Not the biography, the bibliography in the back. There was a lot of great sources. There was a bibliography essay that had a lot of good sources, and then the notes were very detailed, and I really appreciated like the diverse sources they used. It kind of made me feel bad though, because I was like, if I read all of these books that were mentioned, it would take like the rest of my life, and I probably will never even get the sources. I read like that much of the archival literature in the world, which is not that much. The other thing, like, I enjoyed it for what it was, but I did find it kind of disappointing because this book was published in 2006, and it's still being used as a textbook in an archival class in 2017. And I feel like that's kind of outdated for an industry like information science, which is what this is a part of, you know. It's like, this whole thing is, a lot of it's based on technology, and technology has changed a lot since 2006. So I kind of wish they would get something, like either an updated version of this, or the professor would get another textbook that was a little newer, you know, a little more in the trend. But it was still a good book, and I definitely plan to keep it for reference purposes and to maybe read some of the sources out of the back sometime. But probably not anytime soon, because I've, you know, made my TBR for the whole year, basically. Which is kind of crazy and kind of type A, which is what I am. So yeah, that's the 2 books I've recently read. And I hope everybody's having a great day and a great April. And if you're doing duties, I hope you have a lot of fun doing duties. And I'll talk to you later. Bye!